Thank you for having me here today, Valerie. My name is Beth McNeil-Muhs. I am the owner and president of Artful Home Care. We are based in Southampton, New York, and we are going into our 14th year, 2026. First started in December, so we're just about to hit, our 14th year.
That is amazing. That makes me feel old because I feel like we have known you since almost the day you started. It's probably after that, but
No, we knew each
so
other
much.
since before we really started. I had done a lot of work in formulating the business plan, and so a lot of that included research. And I know that I was introduced to your company through Steve the Hurricane Market.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. So it's been a long time. So I think that one of the things I know is really important to you and is important to anyone who sees this video is to learn why you got into the business, but also about the way you approach this business that's different, that holistic approach. And especially because it's artfully, we want to know more about the art aspect. So why don't you tell us why you got in the business and how you guys approach this with a more holistic view?
Sure. I was a private art dealer and a curator for about almost 15 years. My husband is an artist, and at one point through our careers and our relationship, we realized it might be really good to diversify where we were looking at having income. And so I started to explore areas that were of interest to me. And my grandmothers, I had two grandmothers at the time who were both in their early 80s. One was very active. She was actually a caregiver herself, an 80-year-old caregiving, working with clients who were younger than her. She was very active. She went to her weekly art class. She did yoga. She volunteered at her church thrift store. Whereas my other grandmother, she had some more medical issues. She had mobility issues, although always very bright in spirit and what thankfully cognitively sharp, both of them. She had more difficulty, and we recognized that some of that was a matter of choices that were made as they were aging, and then the choices they were continuing to make as they were elderly adults. So I went ahead and started exploring what this meant. My cousin actually also runs a successful home care agency, and she and I got together, and she was really encouraging. And turned out one of my grandmother's best friends had owned one of the first nurse-owned agencies here on Long Island, on Eastern Long Island. And she had been working in home care with some extremely well-known artists and people in our East End community who were in need of well-rounded care. And it was just all of a sudden the pieces were coming together. I felt very inspired and encouraged to continue to research what it would be and what it would mean and how we would want to position ourselves to be unique among the area agencies. My why leads right into really what does make us unique. So, Artful Home Care is designed to create stimulation, build creative arts, alternative tools for healing when a family member or someone is interested, and to create a care plan that really touches upon the interests of the individual with an emphasis on music, writing. Might be someone was a poet and we can work with them by just rereading some of their work. We also have incorporated different tools that are there musically, whether it is just taking the time to spend listening to music. There is also, of course, the Music in Memory program, which was extremely awe-inspiring for me when I was first starting the business. Have you seen the film?
I probably have. It may have been a while,
Okay.
but the amazingness of playing a tune that an old song or
Yeah.
something that you know is from that senior's generation, and they are maybe nonverbal, but they remember that music. And it is amazing what music does. Amazing.
It is. And when I watched that film, that was yet another confirmation that I was moving in the right direction by not taking a medical approach, but actually taking a lifestyle approach that really placed value on the individual, their past interests, of course, factoring in their current abilities, but not being limited by that, having a chance to utilize relationships with our caregivers, our staff, our clients' families, contacts, neighbors. And it really became full circle from, having been in the art world and bringing that experience through. As an art dealer, I actually experienced healing myself. I saw artists experience it. Even people who purchased the art would say, Beth, ever since I put this piece of art in my home, I walk through the door and a sense of calm completely comes over me. And that's the kind of calm and peace every one of us are looking for at any age. So it all started to come together. And that's what really led me to say this wasn't just something that would be a good idea. This is something that we really would all benefit from.
Absolutely. Yes. The arts are, we don't talk about it enough in healthcare. We don't talk about it enough in home care. And I think music therapy has really taken the front row in meaningful artistic, having that really affect someone with memory loss and other ways too. But definitely we don't talk about this enough. And just even picking up a paintbrush, even if you haven't done it in years, it's a different kind of therapy to just be able to sit and do a craft of any kind, something that you love to do in the past and you pick it up again. It's very therapeutic to
Yeah,
have that ability to do that again or experience
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's Artful Home Care goes deeper than just the arts because, of course, there are different interests people have had. And that's where we find our individual, unique approach in exploring who that person was, the history of who they were, what they studied, what they ended up doing as a career or different careers in their life, of course, their personal interests. I was recently reading a book about an individual who had dementia and was very isolated and had not spoken. They were nonverbal for, I think it was almost 10 years. And the caregiver started to recognize something in the individual and did this exploration of their history, found that they used to be a saddle worker. And that caregiver found an old saddle, brought it into his room. It took him a couple days, but eventually he walked over and he started working on it. And it was this transformation of this individual. And this is real life. So, yes, I had been reading that, but again, it was just so moving to see the response that people have. So it's not just finding their musical interest or their creative arts talent, but what was it that motivated them and inspired them? And what can re-trigger those synapses to connect and find a way to be reignited? And I know I spent a lot of time early on when I was starting the business understanding Alzheimer's. And I was seeing this increase, a significant increase in individuals who were being diagnosed with dementia, Alzheimer's. And so, as I worked with people like the Alzheimer's Foundation of America and Alzheimer's Disease Resource Center, those are two New York based companies. We did a training with our employees. I think it was about a 16-week credited training.
Wow.
That was fabulous in helping us understand some of those nuances and how the disease progresses and how unique it can be for each individual. But one of the other fascinating studies I came across was about ballroom dancing. There was a
Wow.
study that showed ballroom dancing was more effective in warding off the progression of the disease than all of the drugs that were at disposal at that time. This was probably about 2016. So 10 years ago. I know research has changed, but I don't believe that there have been any studies since that one that have showed as much of an effect on slowing the progression as that ballroom dancing. So,
Isn't that interesting? It's not only the music, but the movement of your body. And I'm sure that we're not twirling around. It can be simple ballroom dancing,
yes,
but that kind
exactly.
of movement, choreographed a little bit, and it's a rhythmic movement. I can see how that would trigger a lot of synapses firing when you put all of that together.
Absolutely. I think as I'm sitting here really thinking about what has inspired me, there were so many pieces to the puzzle of putting this business together. I learned about neurobics, brain exercises. It is simply taking your approach to something and doing it differently. And it's a silly thing, but anybody who watches this, I encourage you to brush your teeth with your other hand.
Yeah,
It is a very wild brain exercise, but slowly and suddenly you'll feel it can go from being awkward and uncomfortable to a couple tries later, feeling more natural. Right there, you have created new synapse development and triggered and fired new abilities for your brain. And there's some books out there on neurobics. So every age, we should all be doing things like that.
sure.
And
Yeah, anything to keep your brain sharp. And as you hit middle age, you start to realize,
yeah,
and the getting tired at the end of the day, just being tired from all the mental and physical stuff you've been doing all day, you realize how much easier it is for you to wear out mentally by the end of the day. So anything we can do to keep our brain sharp is always helpful. As and you can never start too early for that.
no,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I agree with that. And through the years, as Artful Home Care had formed and found a foothold within the community, a part of our goal was not just to be a resource for individual clients that we worked with directly, but we also wanted to reach out to the community to help share some light onto all of these little tools that we were learning about.
Yeah.
And so at one point, we started doing art for health lectures or discussions. That was really fascinating. And that was just before COVID. So unfortunately, COVID slowed down the
Quite a few
progression
things.
of those discussions in person anyway. But we had pet therapists, physical therapists, art therapists, we had nutritionists and chefs, people who did different kinds of physical therapy through yoga, tai chi. One of my most memorable guests was a dancer, a woman, Gail Baranello, and she had created this concept called moving through. And it was a program that was designed to allow individuals to move through different emotions, different physical restrictions, different feelings that were preventing them from feeling that calm, the
Yeah.
peace, the
Yeah.
joy that we want. And we had the privilege to participate in a workshop with her. And again, it was just yet another example of there are these tools in our and resources in our community.
Yeah.
It's a matter of tapping into them, learning about them, and then sharing them.
Yep. That's true. And people don't know where to look. They don't know where to start. So someone like you and your organization bringing these to light and having meetings or having these group sessions that are available to other people it's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
And you recently, I know you have some recent achievements. Tell us about Dan's paper because
Oh.
I don't know what Dan's paper is, but everybody in your area probably knows what Dan's
They
paper is.
do. So Dan's is a paper, oh goodness, I don't know how long they've been here, but a long time. And they are a community resource. They
Mhm.
are that kind of go-to paper that you pick up when you're walking through town. And they have a best of the best annual competition, if you will.
Yeah.
But you actually cannot be nominate yourself. You have to be nominated into the different category in which your business is. And then there's a period of voting. And this year we were not just nominated for the first time, but we were also awarded the best of the best senior care here on Long Island. So
Wow.
we are honored to be a part of that recognition. But
Congratulations. Yeah.
I know I have to give credit to the care team. Our
Mhm.
caregivers are the ones that make that possible. I believe it was our clients, the referral sources in our community that made that nomination as well as that award possible for us. And of course, the care coordinators at the
So,
office are a big part of it. It's an honor, and we're really thankful and actually excited because tomorrow night is the party.
oh,
And
wow.
so we're going to have anyone in our care team who is available is going to be there. There'll probably be about 20 people who are available to attend. And so we'll all go to the celebration for this.
Okay, we want lots of pictures.
I know, I will send them. Don't worry. It's on my
And
list.
and so speaking of caregivers, tell us what you look for in a caregiver when hiring, because I think a lot of people want to know, what everybody has some things you have to do by law, like background checks and that, but what do you look for in a caregiver who's going to be part of your team?
There's a couple key things, I think. One is, of course, your initial impression of someone on the phone, the way that they handle their time, your time, the way that they respect keeping appointments. And if they're unable to show up and they call us, that is a wonderful, considerate component. And it just shows us that this is leading us to the potential right caregiver. But then once we have that initial impression, we have our interview process. And of course, getting to know them through that one-on-one direct conversation, in-person conversation. I think a lot of even phone calls or emails can distort who a person really is. And the fact is, they're providing care one-on-one in a home. So once we have that chance to engage with them one-on-one, it really allows us to see the level of empathy, compassion, confidence, and then experience. Of course, we want to know what is your training, how much experience do you have, but not just how much experience you have, but what do the families think of the relationship that you established with their loved one? Reference checks are a really critical part, and we try to speak to at least two, three, or even four families or agencies in which they've worked with. And that really all helps to lead us down the path. I think that it's really a feeling you get when you meet someone in person. So that's where that initial interview really usually shapes the relationship with that individual.
I feel like caregivers who do a good job really are called to be a caregiver. They feel that calling.
Absolutely.
And when they feel that calling, they understand after working in the field for a while how much that family not only appreciates but relies on them.
Yeah.
Not just the senior, but also the kids that might not be able to be there, the adult children, they can't be there all day, or maybe they live far away,
Yeah.
and they can't be there, and they are depending on that person to be
Yeah.
there, be on time, and be a friend to their aging loved one.
Yeah. It's a heart.
Yes.
This is a position that you should move into when you feel called and led to
Mm-hmm.
care for others.
Yep.
And we have wonderful people on our team from all different backgrounds. Of course, we have traditionally trained home health aides, personal care aides, some medical assistants who might have decided they wanted to have more of a direct one-on-one approach into providing care. We're fortunate to have a couple retired nurses
Oh, nice.
who just don't want to stop being
Mhm.
there to support and care for individuals. Some of those have hospital experience, others have hospice experience. Those are, of course, wonderful people to have on our team. And then we have some caregivers with more unique backgrounds who retired architect. We had two architects actually over the years,
Wow.
which is interesting, who both moved into caregiving when they decided to one help a friend and the other took care of
Hmm.
a parent. And they learned about who we were, what made us unique, and they really just wanted to get on board and be there to support the community. So really different walks of life.
That's really neat. That makes it easier, I think, to match the right caregiver with the right client. If you have a lot of folks coming from all different backgrounds, and it sounds like you have a lot of professionals and maybe some not old caregivers, but older, like adults that have moved on to the second part of their life and just want to
Yeah,
give back, or like you said, they don't want to stop caring. They
yeah,
just aren't don't want to do it
absolutely.
in a in the crazy capacity of being a nurse in a hospital, which is
Yeah.
stressful.
Very different. So,
Yeah.
no, and we are a companion care agency. So, we're going to direct our clients to seek the medical professionals when
Yeah.
that's needed. What that's the whole idea for us to be there. So, when we recognize something is changing, we of course get the alert. We have a clinical director who we consult with, and she is an experienced nurse who had not only been in hospital settings, but then also home care and hospice settings. And she's our go-to for allowing us to make those recommendations to the family. But I can just say that sitting here right now and having said all this, I'm just full of gratitude for being able to be a part of this industry. And I know that I've had a chance to be a caregiver, not just through my own family and friends, but of course through clients in the agency, because that's one thing. If a caregiver can't show or it's a last minute cancellation, myself, my care coordinators in the office, we are all willing to go and to be there, especially when that client really has that need. And some of that work is my most enjoyable.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
get to be right in the home and doing that direct care and being there, just to really remember what this is all about. And
Brings you right back to the beginning. And yeah, it's really, I find it rewarding to just sit and listen to someone tell me all their stories, all their life history, their stories. I guess maybe I'm at an age where that's totally interesting to me, but to hear stories about from clients or from seniors about what their life was like, if they were in the service, if they were, what are the things that they did in their life? It's really fascinating. And we owe them a lot of gratitude for raising all of us and for being of service to others. Yeah, I think probably once in a while, getting back to being able to just sit and hang out with somebody for a few hours is probably really refreshing.
absolutely, it is some of the most peaceful days that I tend to have. And
Yeah.
last year, when I was sitting with a gentleman who we had the pleasure of supporting for many years, he was talking about how much of his life he's been thankful for and his family, and he had a very close family, which was wonderful. But we just sat out on the porch, bird watching,
Mhm.
identifying the birds, talking about what it must be like to feel that freedom and flying. And it really, that's a moment that has stuck with me because we were being together. We
Yeah.
were being in the moment. We were
Mhm.
cherishing one another. He appreciated that I was able to be there that day. And of course, I first met him when we began working with him, and he enjoyed the company, and I enjoyed the wisdom and value that I could see that he had given to his community as well as his family. And yeah, we need to be reminded of that, all of us.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have folks that you wouldn't know it by looking at them, but they've lived amazing lives and they've done some amazing things out there. And even if they didn't do something super crazy amazing, if they raised 4 kids and
Absolutely.
got them all out the door and to be successful humans in their lives, then they've done something pretty amazing because that's hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell us, you have some recent partnerships, and I wanted to ask you about that. Some things that you've done lately,
Sure.
legacy and end of life strategies, things like that. Tell us about.
Yeah, so that was really a wonderful, again, a resource that we provided to our community. It was free. We notified our clients, contacts, referral sources, just our friends and family, people in the community. We held a Planning Your Legacy event. We had an estate attorney, two financial advisors, someone who focused on life insurance, and then, of course, I was there to share about the requirements, the challenges, and the needs that come up. Also, to give people an insight into what the cost of this kind of level of quality care can be. And it was very well received. We already, just shortly after, had requests. People shared it with others. They said, when are you hosting the next event? We'd really like to invite our family, my sister, the neighbors are interested, because planning for end of life shouldn't start in your 70s. That's when the financial resources may be allocated in certain ways, and it does not exactly afford you the chance to look at a policy, a life insurance policy that may have a long-term care benefit. And I think there's a lot of past information that family members think still is the case today. But
Right.
long-term care insurance, life insurance, whole life insurance policies are different. And there are a lot of different options that, again, really need to be determined when a one-on-one meeting takes place between you and that advisor who can best help you out. Estate planning, obviously, when I grew up, I thought estates and trusts were only available or only pertinent to those who seem to be multimillionaires. And the fact is, our families who are here on Long Island, our home values alone are what really indicates you should set up some trust, estate plan, something to help you and your family maintain the benefits to the hard work that the people put into to build, buy, and maintain those homes over years. So it was eye-opening, I think, for many people in their 40s, early 50s who hadn't yet planned for these needs of home care or a facility long term. And even just the idea of maybe I want to enjoy my retirement. My goal is to be healthy. My goal is to maintain a quality of life as far as I can. And the fact is, we are doing that right now. My grandmother is 94 years old. It wasn't until about 2 years ago that she started to have a caregiver and need to be in a space that offered her more safety. But so we're looking at into our 80s, early 90s, where we can maintain quality of life. So how can you do that? How can you do it where you're not working until you're 80, 85 years
Yeah.
old, which is also happening to people.
Oh, absolutely.
So this Planning Your Legacy event was very well attended, received, and we hope to do more of them. Again, we are a resource. So call us If you don't need help with your own loved one, still give us a call. Reach out to myself, Lori, and Elaine. Elaine has firsthand experience with walking through all of the caregiving needs, end of life planning. Lori was working with a great agency down out of the area before she started working with us. So our team is well versed and experienced, and I am happy to take the time to speak with anyone as well. Yes, through these kind of events, we are a resource and hope to continue to be a resource for families.
Great. That is, you know what? You guys have done such a good job with all of this. And I know the people of your community obviously appreciate it because Dan's paper also recognize that. I love it. And I'm so happy for you tonight. I think this is going to be a great celebration. Thank you
Thanks.
for talking to me and to all of us and telling us more about Artful Home Care and all the things that you've done over the years. And I know it'll continue to be a great future business and you guys will just grow immensely. And that's
Right.
wonderful.
Thank you. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. And thank you for your help along the years, supporting our efforts in outreach. And so thank you. Thank you for that and for your dedication to this specific niche in marketing. So thank you.
Yep. We love all of you who work tirelessly to help our seniors. So we appreciate it.